is The Furnace. Good evening and welcome to it. My name is Charity Mtonga. Our guest this evening, she is the daughter to veteran politician, former parliamentarian and former cabinet minister. Iris Kaingu is vying for the Mwandi parliamentary seat under the Patriotic Front. She's our guest this evening. Miss Kaingu, good evening and welcome to The Furnace.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, I've mentioned you are vying for the Mwandi parliamentary seat under the Patriotic Front.
Yes.
Your comment on the Felt Bill 10.
Oh, we're going to just go straight into it, aren't we?
Let's get into it.
Good. I'm happy. You see, I have a way that I think about things, and this specifically has been something that has been on my heart because I had been rallying for the Bill 10 since it was in its incubation stage, because I saw that through the bill we will have a proper equal representation. Women can get a position, youth can get a position, differently able people can get a position. So I felt like it was something that was shut down for some of us. But then again, like the way God works, something else is here next year, a general election where the youth, the women and the differently abled can be able to speak and choose their leaders.
You say somewhat shut down for some of us,
yes.
Meaning you, a youth, a young lady. Do you think that the PF will actually adopt you to contest for Mwandi?
Most definitely. I say this because when I look at situations and the current government, they are very inclusive of everybody. I think they have considered, look at our vice president is a woman. I don't know if Zambia has ever, in fact, Zambia has never had a woman vice president before. And this is such a big step before our president at the moment. It's not easy to just up and appoint a woman, but because he believes in women and he believes in the youth, and he believes that we can make a major contribution to the economy and all the laws that are prevailing in Zambia, and he believes in women. So I would, by far, I would support the Patriotic Front 110%.
Spoken very well. Now, do you feel, with all that belief that you've actually just mentioned right now,
right,
do you feel the Patriotic Front actually, and you as Iris Kaingu, actually needed to continue pushing for Bill 10, especially if you feel that the Patriotic Front is an inclusive party that is very much involving, including women, the differently abled, the youths, and the likes? Do they actually need to put it in Bill 10?
Yes. Naturally, everything that you pass as law is law. And in my constituency, for example, I'll tell you I was hoping that if Bill 10 passes, they could have cut my constituency in half, take it from me. I was touring my constituency for the past 2 weeks in trying to mobilize the Patriotic Front because it's currently a UPND stronghold. I wouldn't say stronghold, scratch that. It's currently under the United Party for National Development. And from what I've seen on the ground, the grassroots is ready to have the Patriotic Front because they want to vote for a government that is for the people. I'll tell you what, in my constituency we have 3 aspiring candidates, 2 of which are men and myself. So by passing of Bill 10, I would not have had a big contest between myself and the other aspirants, because I was hoping that Bill 10 would carry the youth agenda, carry the women agenda, and by all means would have sliced my constituency in half. Maybe me and another lady could have been the pallbearers for my constituency. So you see, I feel very attached to it in that way because I have so much to give. I have a big contribution to be a member of parliament. So that's naturally, obviously, I feel some type of way since it was shut down.
The president has got the privilege of appointing 8 people.
Yes.
Do you feel in the current state, he can actually just go full throttle and appoint you?
I believe so, yes, positively, because I've heard he is looking for youth that are ready to make a change, youth that are ready to speak out on issues, youth and women. Like I said already, my president, Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, is very inclusive. he doesn't look at a person based on their gender, to be honest. I think he looks at a person based on their merit. What can this person contribute towards the patriotic front, towards the government, towards government policies? And I think that that's why he bases all his appointments on merit.
You
Yes,
speak highly of him.
I do.
However, the patriotic front is said to have successfully failed to boost the economy. It picked up from the MMD with the dollar trading at about 6 kwacha against the United States dollars, and today we're speaking of it being at 21 kwacha. What gives you all that confidence to speak highly of a political party that seems to be that's said to be failing?
So I would like to answer your question in two parts. The first is, each and every economy in this world today is going through a hardship. You have to agree with me, yes?
True.
True. So if each and every economy is going through hardships world over, I am confident in my current leadership because they have managed to hold it down on the basics. I'll tell you now, I saw a meme 5 days or 6 days ago that said, the top part said, how much money have you been able to save this year? The response was, no, forget money. I've been able to save my life this year, And yes, maybe people might find that hilarious, but the truth of the matter is everybody has been struggling, and this government has managed to hold it down. I'll tell you what, I'm glad that you actually asked me this question. I have with me a report that is between October 2019 and March 2020. It's a DMMU, Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit report. This report, I'll give you back and to just put my my point clearly. Do you remember that last year there was a time when some opposition leaders were calling for Zambia to declare a national disaster? Do you remember?
Yes.
This was because people said that the drought situation and the flooding situation was beyond government's control. Now I'll tell you what, for example, there was a very vocal opinion from the leader of the opposition party, UPND. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema said that we should declare a national disaster. Why is it that a president...
He actually went ahead and declared it.
Yes, he did. Why is it that a president of an opposition party can find it okay to solicit foreign help? If it's true that he wants to be a president for Zambians, he must offer Zambian solutions. Do you see what I mean? Now, the government of the day decided that they will not declare a national disaster because they can hold it down as the government.
And you were about to make reference to
I was about to make reference to this point, this document. Now, you see, Zambia initially is supposed to, if you say our yield is 2 million metric tons, say, okay, it's actually 2.4 metric tons. I have the data here. You can reference it later. 2.4 metric tons of maize is what is supposed to be produced by this agricultural fielded economy, right? And if we produce, say, 2 metric tons or something less than what's about an average yield, it means there's that gap, right? And now last year, the 2018-2019 farming season produced about, say, 1.9 metric tons, which left a 16% deficit. Now, I'll tell you, it's remarkable because what makes me so angry is that people don't understand what this government is doing for the people of Zambia. This government, like it should, provided the deficit, the 16%. Through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, they managed to feed. There was no Zambian that died of starvation, unlike other African countries, if you've been following. We didn't declare a national disaster. We held it down. We fed the people who were hungry. We bought foreign maize. We got donations from India, from Israel. So I feel like it's unfair.
Which became a little controversial at some point.
At some point.
People questioning about where the donations from India went to for example.
No, but I think once you can trust your government, and I think that's what most Zambians need to understand. You must trust your government, the government of the day. If they receive something, don't go criticizing them. At least go and ask. Where did it go? How was it distributed? Because these people are answerable to us Zambians. We shouldn't all the time be whistleblowers for something that is not even relevant. I'll tell you what, like this report says, government provided a 16% deficit for all Zambians. And I'll tell you what, because my party, the Patriotic Front, is a government for the people, it didn't even decide whether it's going to be Western Province, Southern Province, Eastern Province. It looked at the areas in Zambia that needed immediate intervention, which they did.
For a governing party.
Yes.
Now, how do you explain the corruption allegations? Could it be because of some officials and the continued agenda being pushed? And actually, the notion is that there is a lot of corruption under the PF government, and that a lot of these cases do not get to a logical conclusion because most of them are actually aligned to the people who are in power.
Well, to answer that, but first I hope that I answered the question about how my government provides for the people no matter where it is. Okay, good. So moving to your question, corruption is something that you can't hold just Zambia against. Any economy that has got poverty will be associated with corruption naturally. But what really makes me think about these things is, why is it that you can't ask a question not in a criticizing manner, but you can just ask the question and wait for an answer? For example, I'll tell you this thing about corruption you're talking about. Give me specifics. Give me one case scenario.
I would rather not involve certain individuals, because some of the cases
because we're talking about real issues, so
yes.
it's important for you to maybe
Let's
cite
talk
an
about,
issue.
The fire tenders.
Okay.
Let's talk about the
Do you have information about this that we can discuss? Actual facts.
Are you in agreement with the tag, the price tag that were attached to those?
And that's my point exactly, madam.
What about the issues like the construction of the infrastructure development, the inflated figures that are being talked about?
Do you remember that the 48 houses, when they came about on the scene, you remember what happened? They said 48 houses have been built. We don't know who built them. 2 months ago, there was another screaming headline to say, we found out who built the 48 houses, and it wasn't even the Patriotic Front to blame.
All
Do you
right,
know?
let's put aside the
No, you cited it.
Oh, all right, yeah, there's that particular one, which, like I said, the controversial ones, which are especially in court, I'd rather not deal with them. Let's talk about the ones, the issues which always make headlines, like the inflated figures. Yes, there is development, but at what cost? Let's talk about the fire tenders. What was the cost?
No, I think
let's go with the straightforward.
So you see what it is I'm talking about when it comes to conversations, right? You and I are sitting here in front of a very big mass that are listening to us right now. They would like for us to discuss facts, okay? So it would be good for us to cite exactly what the facts were in the case. What I've noticed about most Zambians is that we talk about things just on the top of it, like the shell.
If we go on, for example, if we take the one for the fire tenders, we go into the details of facts and everything. It will take us an entire program.
That's what I'm saying. But it's important that maybe when people talk about a corruption case, you cite a corruption case, you cite the facts, and then you say this corruption case was concluded as such, not just. I tell you, because we like talking.
I gave three.
No, we like to blame, point fingers. We like to point blame. We like to shimika, just because it's a story, and people like stories that are controversial.
Are you saying the one for the fire tenders is a story?
Well, no, it's not. I wouldn't say it's a story.
What about the issue of the figures as compared to what should be maybe the standard cost to protect.
So you see what is I was trying to say to you, so that we don't make this whole discussion about corruption. Corruption is in existence. So is other things that come with being in a government of the day. My government, through His Excellency the President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa, is doing far much more than we should sit here talking about negativity, because negativity will always be there. But can we talk about the positives? What has he really been able to achieve? Let's take it merit for merit. Is it true that the president has not fixed things in this country? You know what I mean? Yes, it's true that there's I mean, like anybody else, like yourself, like myself, we could talk about my flaws today. I could tell you I have a bunch of flaws. If I look in my mirror today and say, oh my goodness, I have a pimple, that doesn't mean that my whole face should go to waste. You see, it's one flaw. And my government has flaws, but my government also has positive issues that they're dealing with every day.
And my question was, what is your party's performance economically, especially with the
with reference to this document? The aspiring candidate for Mwandi constituency, I don't want to just speak from nowhere. I would like to back it up. This document says here, you should refer to it under Mwandi there, under Mwandi, have a look. It shows you precisely how many people have been given the social cash transfer at I think it's the last column in the back there. And it also shows us how many people have been given relief food just the previous year. So, like I said, my government, through my president, does each and every possible way to make Zambians' lives better. That's my point.
Yeah, like we cannot take away the fact that there is a lot of good that is being done by.
Okay, and I hope that we could focus on the good. That's like why I'm here.
It can't be. It can't be that way. But anyway, let's move on and talk about this game that you've gotten into, politics. Now, senior members of the Patriotic Front. It goes without saying that we cannot run away from the fact that we have the main opposition, like opposition UPND. We've got government officials, government ministers that have been uttering very divisive words, especially with regards to tribalism. Like, there's a major people, and we talk about tribalism day in, day out. Is this what politics should be about?
I believe not, to be honest. And I'll refer to this in a very. I hope that the youth everywhere can listen to me as I say this. Can we move from a Zambia that is petty? Can we move from a Zambia that decides their welfare based on your tribe? Because the truth is, if you look at Zambia holistically, the yield that comes from the Western province is not the same that comes from the Eastern province. The economic development that can come from the Southern province is not the same from the North. So if we continue looking at politics as tribal, we have no way we can go as Zambians. We should be able to contribute together holistically. And I'll tell you, the United Party for National Development has never held intra-party elections. I don't know when the last time that was. Now, is that really a democracy, you see? So I think when we talk about partisanship and tribalism, it should come from an angle like that. You know what I mean? If you're looking at the UPND, it should be an issue, a real major issue. Why is it like this?
Are you saying that the UPND is tribal? Am I getting it correct?
No, I mean, like, we've associated the UPND with being Tonga. Let's just be honest.
Well, you've talked about the intra-party elections. I'm just trying to be clear here.
Yes, of course. So you should answer, like, we should have a discourse.
So?
Do you think that the UPND is tribal?
I asked you.
Yes, no, I answered you. I said I don't think we should see it like that, but generally the truth is people like to associate, they like to affiliate themselves like that way. You know, I'm not saying, because I've never been in the UPND, so I don't know. I'm just saying that it's from the onlook of things, that's how it seems to be. And that's what I'm fighting. I don't want us to see this as tribal. We must see this as, for example, if the UPND are going to participate in next year's elections, they must first have an election in their own party, and it shouldn't be on a tribal ground. That's what I'm saying. It should be, if the UPND associate, just like the Patriotic Front, we must also have inter-party elections, just so we can cancel the whole tribalism. And I think that we, as a party, the Patriotic Front have tried by all means to be democratic. That's the truth.
As a new crop of politicians, how best do you want to change the scenario as it is right now? Tribalism, the name calling, mudslinging, and the likes.
So I think the first thing we should do is register as voters. That's the first thing. To be able to speak with one voice. And the voice should not be tribal. The voice should be merit. I keep saying this. It should be, what is it that your member of parliament can do for you? And by far, I think so many things we've seen, and I know it's not a political agenda, and I'm not here to drum up support for the Patriotic Front, but the truth is, I feel like in that party, I feel included, and that's my personal feeling about this. Whereas people thought, no, Iris Kaingu could never amount to anything, I went to the Patriotic Front and they embraced me in a way that makes me feel like it's home. This is where I belong. And I didn't feel the same way. And I did try to, dip and dabble in other political parties. But I'm not here, again, like I said, I'm not here to drum up a certain type of arena. I just want youth to be out there to register and to vote on merit. Can you look at a leader and see what is it that they can do for you? I'll tell you what, in life, the truth is, if you're poor and if you're in poverty, you can't be elected to be in position that could help somebody else who's in poverty. Like if you're on the same ground level, you know what I mean? And I know maybe there's some people who are lucky like that, and maybe they get a lucky break. But the truth is, if you take a leader, right, and you want them to represent you, you should see some qualities. How have they managed their life so far? Where are they? What are they doing? Don't just vote based on they come from my hometown, because that doesn't give you laws, that doesn't give you strategy, that doesn't make your economy any better. You see what I mean? So I would love to urge the youth, each and every corner of Zambia, to next year, when you vote, please choose leaders that are going to speak for you. Choose leaders who can stand for you and say things that really represent your interests. Yes.
And maybe one of the basic questions I should ask you is, why politics? Why did you decide to join politics?
So, politics is the backbone of any economy, I think. And the past has been... I don't want to say this because I might be misquoted, but in the past, Zambia has never really filled in youth to represent us, right? And even the ratio of men to women in parliament is like, men, women, So I have a non-governmental organization called the Iris Kaingu Foundation that has been helping people across Zambia to, in the littlest way that I can. And I realized that my heartfelt dream is service. I would like to be of service to the people of Zambia. Whether my life be short or long, I want to be the torchbearer to say, look, you voted in somebody who actually cares about you, somebody who cares about your economy, your welfare. So I'm driven like that. I want people to see Mwandi constituency and say, look, there's a woman who actually wants to make real change to people's lives. So I'm very driven, and I think that our president needs people like me who can rally behind his dream and his vision to actualize the Zambia that he wants to see in the future.
All right. I know I touched on it, but you said you had kind of had a little flirtations with other political parties, but why the Patriotic Front? I heard you mention, like, speak highly of the party, but what was that catchy thing that caught you about the Patriotic Front with the politics that is going on right now? We'll delve a little further into that, but just why the Patriotic Front?
And this is so cool that you asked me that question. In 2015, and I think before that, I used to see the Patriotic Front and think, oh my God, they are hooligans and they are very rough and loud, and I had a misconception about the Patriotic Front. And when I got to, because my father has been my role model and my veteran for the longest time, he's my best friend, so I feel like walking in his footprints and his footsteps has molded me in a way. There's no way he would have chosen to be with the Patriotic Front if it was not formidable. And we should learn, youth must learn from their elders, I think. And my dad is my first and foremost role model. So that's number one. Then number two is that I've realized that they are inclusive, like I said to you. I don't know of any multi-tribal party like ours. My president is from the East, my vice president is from the West. You have that inclusivity that comes with being in the Patriotic Front. We're a family above everything else. We want the success of my friend should be the success of me and the next person and the next person. And I feel like we've got that love, that energy that drives somebody to belong. I feel like we belong. And I'll tell you, I could easily talk about the manifesto, about the Patriotic Front, but I feel like that's a big topic for another day. But the truth is, the Patriotic Front feels like home to me. It feels like that's where I belong.
And how have you been received in the political arena? I mean, I look at you, a young lady, my party held it down, you're talking about memes and the like. That is
like, so today.
Yes, so today, I know like politicians, even the ones of yesteryears, are trying to like align with the youths and the like.
Right.
How have you been received generally as a politician?
I should say gracefully. I'm so, when, have you ever gone to like a stranger's home and you walk through the door and the whole place just feels like you're welcome? That's how I feel. And this is not because of the leadership I've met from the Patriotic Front. No, not the president, not the SG, no. I mean, even they are very welcoming. That's not. They're excellent. The top leadership of the Patriotic Front is amazing. But who I'm talking about is the grassroots, because I've been in the western part of Zambia, I've been in the northern part of Zambia, in the eastern part of Zambia, and in the places where you think is a opposition stronghold, and you go there and they just, once they see your green chitenge, it's like they just feel like they should be a part of this. And that really makes me feel so happy, because I realize that Zambia is ready and willing to be behind the Patriotic Front. So I have no worries. Next year we're definitely going to win. But I just feel like the grassroots is just ready. They are PF.
Is it an easy path for you?
No, very hard.
Okay. The constituency you're vying for, your father was MP.
Yes.
Of the same area.
Yes.
Is it a coincidence or is there a story to it?
There is a story, more or less. But more importantly, when I think about politics and when I think of continuity and I think about succession and leadership, and when all these things come to mind, like I told you, my father is my best friend, and just to see his legacy and what he started and being able to walk in those very shoes is an honor for me. But what the current member of parliament has done in that constituency for the last 5 years really broke my heart, because when I went in the peripheral of Mwandi, I took a tour of 10 days and I was properly in the constituency, on the ground, on the grassroots. Every place I went, the people in multitudes, many people came to me and said, your father was a legend for us. He was our hero. Do you see that hospital? Do you see that school? Do you see that clinic? It was all Dr. Kaingu, Honorable Kaingu. There's no mention of the current member of parliament, and it shouldn't be that way. I don't wish him ill. I just feel like if you've got, and trust me, those are big shoes. If you come after Dr. Kaingu, you better be hardworking. Otherwise, all his legacy will just overshadow you, which it has done for Mwandi and the current member of parliament. So it just really saddens my heart to see all his hard work not have somebody else to, because politics is like a relay. When you take the baton, you have to run your race and pass it on to the next person. And I feel like my dad passed it on to just somebody who's not really, you know, he's not a visionary. He doesn't want to carry on that whole thing. You see what I mean? So for me, it's just going to be an honor. It's just going to be a great story to be able to take over from my dad and carry, because he's my greatest inspiration, and he can provide me the knowledge and the know-how of politics, learning the ropes of politics, what strategies I can improve, what the implementations, what can I really do to make what he started to see, because he started something, and it's me and the next person after me to finish on in his legacy. So you see, for me it's special like that. And it's funny because I have a very big following in like Lusaka, or I could stand in Kawata or Lusaka Central, Kablonga, because I speak English, and I have a big youth following on my social media. Can you imagine how hard it has been for me to go from Lusaka, where I'm famous, to Mwandi, where the issues are real. It's not being able to open your tap to have water. You have to walk a couple of kilometers to get you water. I mean, for me, like I said, it's about service and service over self.
Oh, this is you referring to the fact that you're giving up your certain
my comfort
luxuries,
zone.
your
Yeah,
comfort
this is
zone
my
to go
comfort zone.
and
I would have easily walked out of my house in Kabalonga to go and try and rally up a crowd and start campaigning and mobilizing from the comfort of Lusaka, where you have everything. And because you see, to be of service to people and to be able to make a difference, you must be able to come out of your box, out of your comfort zone. You must be able to see another person and say, you know what, let me put myself in their shoes. How can I help this person? It really breaks my heart to see children go to school with no shoes or go to school with no food, just at break time here in Kablonga. At break time, if you only have 2 boiled eggs, it's a whole big issue, because it's 2 boiled eggs. But in Mwandi, those children don't even have that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, your father, when you told him that you want to go the political route, what was his advice to you, especially that he's been in it for a very long time?
The truth or not the truth?
The truth.
Why are you asking for the truth? I was just going to lie.
Yeah, politicians do a lot of that, but let's just have
who told you? You see, that's another thing.
another
People
day.
never like.
Topic for another day.
Okay, no. Initially, his first opinion was maybe don't do it because of the nature of the political arena. Just like if you had a child and they asked you, can I go to war? I don't think your first response would be, yes, go ahead, get a gun, run off, No. As I feel like he saw his little girl trying to get into this big world and trying to conquer something that is possible, but it'll be very hard. That's my feeling about it. I think he thought my daughter, my young girl, is trying to get into this environment that is not very pro women, and obviously I told you that's why I'm so angry about Bill 10, because it would have easily smoothened our process in integrating us into political realm. But I feel like he was just coming from a father viewpoint, but from a politician's viewpoint, I think he said, you know what, my daughter, let's do it. Take your gun, take your knife, let's go to war.
He must have also told you that it's not exactly the cleanest industry, and like you have said, currently just the terrain in itself, even with Bill 10, the environment, the stone throwing and the likes, it's not easy even for us as journalists to go out there when there's like campaigns and the like.
Sure.
Are you ready for that?
I was just telling the Smart Eagles this afternoon, I had an interview with them. I was saying that right next to thick skin, they should have my name next to it, because I think I've been through hell and back when it comes to ridicule and mud slinging and smoke in your eyes. But like I said, above everything, it's about service. I want to be of service to the Zambian people. I want to be of service to my people in Wandi. I want them to know that through me and through God, they can see a difference in their lives. So if I die going to this fight, it would have been a worthy death.
All right. Do you concede to the notion that women's place is actually in the kitchen, suitable to be a housewife?
I don't think I can cook in a suit. I can, because I'm a really, really awesome woman. But no, the truth is, I think that's very backward thinking. You know, we're very past those times. Look at the Vice President of America, Vice President-elect.
Kamala Harris.
Yes, Mrs. Harris. I don't know if she goes by Miss or Mrs. It is an exceptional woman. She, unlike in Zambia where we think, and I think that's the wild thought that marriage is everything. Marriage is wonderful, and I think marriage is a calling. Not everybody's called to it, but housewifery and all of that is just, you can still be a wife without having to be stationed at the home, I think. And I think it's possible to be a congresswoman, a leader, a parliamentarian, and still be a wife. I think it's possible to be a politician and still be a wife. We have to remove that thought in our heads that women's places is not in leadership. Some of the most amazing women I know, I have two moms. I have the pleasure of having two moms. They are great leaders and also great wives. So I think that we need to remove that altogether. Women do not really... in fact, if you ask me, some of the best cooks I know are men. So maybe men should belong to the house. Maybe we should have house husbands.
Is your father your campaign partner? What are we expecting to see? How much support is he giving you?
Well, maybe you should ask him that. But he's my number one cheerleader. He's been from when they were making fun of him saying Mashi Iris in Parliament in 2012 to the people
making fun of him.
Yeah, because there was that whole scandal, and they used to say she could never amount to anything, and there was a whole ridicule about my father
in Parliament. And what do you make of that incident, especially that since you've raised it, I was trying to be very careful.
You never let me finish my point, though.
I'm gonna really write on it.
Okay.
You are getting into politics where there's a lot of mudslinging, like I have said. Like when it's campaign period, we hear a whole lot of things that maybe sometimes we ask ourselves, like, did we really need to hear that? Are you bracing yourself for something like that? I mean, you've mentioned of the foundation that you're running, but when we hear the name Iris, that unfortunate episode always has to pop up. What would you rather the Zambians remember?
I hope that it pops up. I really do. And I know most people would say, why would she say that? I hope I can sit here and talk to you about my past, because my past is what has molded me into the type of woman, into the type of intellectual, into the type of leader that I am today. If I didn't go through what I went through, I don't think that I'll be sitting here with you. I'll probably be an airhead, because you see, I've grown up in privilege. My dad grew us up in a home with everything, and I really didn't have any business trying to see how I can make other people's lives better. But he grew us differently. He said, you see, you have privilege, but you have privilege in order to help other people who don't have the same privilege as you do. So my ideal, trust me, I'm very, very happy to talk about it, because I know that there's a girl, or maybe even a boy somewhere watching, who can say, you know what, there's one time we used to make fun of this woman. There's one time we used to say she's a prostitute. There's one time we used to say she has a sex tape. There's one time we used to say all these things about her. Now today, in 2020, we're talking about a different woman. A woman who can inspire. A woman who can tell you about real issues. A woman who can come up with strategies to help Zambia. A woman who can say, look, I came from here and I'm going to there. And I think that that's what life is about. We all have a past. And this is a good question that you asked me. Zambians, we need to be more kind to each other. That's the truth. You need to stop being horrible, you know? Why do you always constantly remember somebody else's past? It's in the past. See what it is. Because see, other people maybe are not like myself who will be willing to talk about things like this because they shy away from it and they think that people will see them in a different light. No, I went to prison. I went to prison and experienced prison, and that's the founding concept of my organization. I want to go and create something that can help the next person. You know, we all transgress in society. It's just that and thank God that my transgression was public like that, because in the same way, here I am today, sitting before you, talking about progress, talking about a new woman, existing as a woman in this environment, in the patriarchy, you know, which is, I think, by far better than what we were talking about in the past. So I'm very open and honest to talk about it. It's not something I'll shy. My dad has been my #1 fan. He's been my cheerleader. Even when I was going through that, he said it would be over. And yesterday when I was with him, he said, you see, I told you it would be over. And look at you, soon you're going to be a member of parliament, Honorable Kaingu.
That's very great to hear.
Thank you.
So if you are actually granted that mantle, what plans do you have for the people of Monday? Am I actually seeing an emotional iris right now?
Yes, I'm very, very emotional because I feel like people's well-being is my priority. I want people to see their lives that, you see, because it's not easy to, when you're in a troubled situation, it's not easy to see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's the truth. You can think, yes, God is there, maybe he'll help, but overcoming and becoming someone else is really what matters in life. So it's not been the easiest journey, really.
It's a different strength.
It's a different strength.
Exactly. All right, so what plans do you have for the
Monday?
people?
So Monday is exciting. I wish we had a whole different segment to that, but just to begin with, on the low, on the surface of it, Monday is a highly I want to call it an infestation, because the fish there is not like any other. My mom always says, why do we eat Kariba fish when we can eat Zambezi? It's just way better, and I would like to invest in aquaculture. I mean, altogether agriculture, but aquaculture is my top on the list. Naturally, Mwandi has plenty fish, and I hope that maybe with good management, we can form cooperatives with women and children and youth, and see how we can harness the industrial potential of Mwandi with the fish. I also think that it's possible to do multiple tourism. We have a very big game reserve called Simalaha. It's a game area. It's been in existence for the longest time. It has a lot of game. I would like to bring more tourists to Mwandi. I have a resort called Menoangishi in Sesheke. It's just 60 km from Mwandi. So I would like to encourage tourism in Mwandi. We have one of the biggest bird sanctuaries in the southern part of Africa, in Mwandi.
Yeah.
We have one bird that's endemic to just Mwandi in the world. So you see, this like big tourism potential.
Exactly.
We also have a potential to have village chickens and goats. So the past 2 weeks, I've been grouping women in cooperatives, like I said, that I can maybe solicit help from the government to see how they can come in to partner with already small existing businesses. Because you see, Zambia needs to move from a point where we rely on international aid. Let's look for the future. Let's look towards a Zambia that can be self-sustaining. So that's what I want to teach the people of Mwandi. How can you make Mwandi better for us within our resources? I know we can get some capital and some help from government, but more importantly, I mean, like I said, every economy in the world is going through some things and stress and depressions. But if we can start providing for ourselves, you know, growing the fish, growing the goats, growing the chickens, we can move from where we're always asking for government aid or international aid to being self-sustainable. That's my plan.
Is that what's making it a very fertile ground for you, especially that you're talking of these opportunities, and
Yes.
you are saying that currently there isn't a lot of development that is
Yes.
going on
Yes.
out there,
Yes.
and yet the place has got a lot to thank
Massive
for itself.
massive potential, and it really, like I said, it really breaks my heart that the people of Mwandi for the last 5 years have not experienced this type of enhancement in their potential, because it's possible. I've lived there. I'm from there. My father is from there, and naturally I'm from there as well. The potential is massive. We are very close to Kazungula. That has the new Kazungula bridge. We can easily trade internationally with Botswana, with Namibia. If we use the Sesheke route, we border Katima Mulilo, which is Namibia. So we have major potential. I think all we need to do as Mwandi is to have good management. It's not that we don't have resources, no. We have to just manage our resources better.
And it takes people for you to actually get into that office.
Yes.
How has been the voter registration in your area?
Well, I'm happy that the person before me was the president. What's his
The
position? The
CEO.
CEO for the ECZ, Mr. Shindano. I love that he has highlighted a few things that Zambians need to know, right? But on that very point, I did say this in the afternoon. If it takes Zambia, if it takes you one whole day, 24 hours to register as a voter, you must do it, because it's going to be our civic right. This is the only way we can make actual change. Let's not complain about the time. Yes, it's time well spent. Stand in the line, sit in the queue, make sure to take your national registration card and register as a voter, because next year is the determining year for youth, women, and all of Zambia in general. So I want to go ahead and say, yes, the process is long. We all know the process is long, but the process is worth it.
Are you justifying the long process?
No, I'm just saying it's
We had
worth it.
clip
It's
of
so worth
when you
it.
went to actually register
Yes.
as a voter.
Can you believe that when I was registering, I was telling the registration officer, I said, is this how long it takes for everybody else? Or is it just my papers that have got a problem? He says, no, it's this long, because it has to register you, verify you, then print. And it's a process, but like I said, it's a process well spent. It's time well spent. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the only way we can choose our leaders next year. So we have to do it.
You're breaking the barrier, and as a role model, what message do you have for the women, the young women, and the youth?
I know that in this era of social media, it's very easy for us to think that life is easy like that, and most of us post on social media is a glimpse of what truly is. And now in an era of social media, it to be good for women, youth, everywhere in Zambia to know that everything that you achieve in life has to be from hard work. Life is not easy, but as long as you have faith and your belief in God is strong and you work hard, you will succeed. That's the truth.
Right.
And there's no shortcuts. There's no, and yeah, you can get a pretty
Born with
present
a
as
silver
a,
spoon.
yeah, you can. It's possible. Some people are lucky like that, but the majority of us is that we are not lucky like that. Most of us have to fend for ourselves until we're done with college. But something I like to highlight is that education is definitely the key to success. But if you don't have education, you can still get your natural given talents that you're given by God and try and make something of yourself. Especially now that, look, for a long time the education sector was dead because of the coronavirus.
Yes.
You see, so it means that somehow an economy has to evolve. We have to encourage more entrepreneurs. We have to encourage more vocations, arts, trades, and things like that. So I hope that I'm speaking to a girl somewhere in Zambia who feels like it's not possible. I want to tell you today that it is possible. If you believe in God and if you work hard and if you believe everything is possible, it will be done.
And in a few words, Iris, look into your camera. You talk to the people one day. Sell yourself.
This is always so hard.
Minutes counting. Seconds counting.
No, you know what we can do? You should do it for me.
All right.
Sell me. Let me hear you sell me.
That is the aspiring member of parliament from Mwandi. She has spoken highly of the fruition that is there. Let it just bear fruits. She has a plan. Vote for her come 2021. I've been hosting Iris Kaingu standing under the PF ticket. This has been Charity Mtonga on The Furnace. Good night and thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of it.